adding multiple variables into new single variable in SPSS using the plus sign, and I will also show you how to use syntax using compute variable. Here in SPSS data view, I have 38 students answering an exam questions, and the exam results is imported and stored here and saved here in this SPSS file. Each student answered 76 questions. So we have here 76 different variables. Each variable represents unique question. Question number 1, question number 2, up to question number 76. And each student had answered those 76 questions, and the answer for each student was recorded as either 0 or 1. 0 stands for wrong answer. The student has answered the question wrongly, and 1 stands for the student has answered the question correctly. And if we want to calculate or add the correct answer each individual student has obtained, so we need to add all the variables, all the columns from Q1 to Q76 into a new variable, and we will call it here, or I will call it here, added value or correct answer. And to do that, click on transform compute variable. A window will appear called compute variable. There is a box here called target variable. So I am going to generate a new variable and call it added variables. And in the numeric expression, I want to add all the answers for each individual students for the 76 questions. And the way to do that is to select first the first questions, drag it into the numeric expression, click on the plus sign, and then go and select the question 2 and drag it into the numeric expression, and so on. Keep doing the same for the rest of the variables. So every time you enter a new variables from the list here, add plus sign next to it, and so on and so on and so on. I could really go and fill this box with variable 1 or question number 1 up to questions number 76. But what I have done here, I had typed all the questions from question number 1 to question number 6 into a Word document, and I'm going to copy, select, copy, select it, and then copy it, and then move it to the box here. Instead of typing it one by one, I'm going to right click and then paste. So what happens paste here is, again, all the variables has been placed into the numeric expression box with a plus sign between each questions, indicating that the computer or the software to add the values in each variables for each students and generate into a new variable, call it added variables. If I click on OK, SPSS will generate, and if we scroll to the end of toward the end of the columns here, a new variable is generated called added variable. And if I just drag this here, again, what did the compute command do is adding the value of the value for each student for all the questions together, adding them up using the plus sign. As for the first student, he answered 62 questions correct out of 76, and the second one 58 questions out of 76 questions. So this is the way to add multiple variables into single variable here to calculate the correct answer for each student. Now, I could do also the addition of these variables in different way. If I click on transform, compute, again doing exactly the same, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this into, let's say, call it syntax. Sorry, I clicked here. Compute, call it syntax, as I'm going to use something called syntax in Spss, syntax for added. Okay, so what I will do here, instead of click on OK, I'm going to click on paste. So instead of clicking on OK, just click on paste. Again, a syntax one is appearing, syntax editor is appearing here, and again here, if you can see, it's a command saying data set activate data set 1 dot, and then compute syntax added, say compute, then the variable, the new variable to be generated, then equal, and then the q1 plus q2, and adding all the variable together, and then end up with a follow stop and then an execute command. So what I can do here is, if I select this command or this code and click on this green arrow which will execute the command, again a new variable is generated here using the syntax editor. So what is the benefit of the syntax editor? Syntax editor can be saved and then retrieved to be used for the same data, or if you add further scores into this data, instead of having 38 students, let's say you have 100, 200 students, and you still have the same number of variables, 76 variable, or even if you have a new data for new students and you just copy and paste the scores here or the value here and use the syntax to calculate the correct answer or the added value for all these variables. So what I can do with the syntax editor or syntax code or command, I could save it as I've done here already, save it in my documents, click it here, YouTube, and I will go for syntax. I've already saved it as syntax editor number 1. I could save it as syntax add function. If I save this, I'll rewrite it again, or let's say call it, instead of adding this, I'll call it syntax added function 2 here, call it 2, and then save. Again, this is now saved in the computer, this command, this syntax editor, and I can use it anytime to rerun the analysis for the data I have or for a new records of the data. And to demonstrate that, if I cancel this and then cancel this, and then cancel this, and then start again from here, from, let's say, opening the file of my data freshly here, and then I could go to File, Open, click on Syntax, and then I'm going to select the syntax 2 function 2, click on Open. Okay, now I need to rerun the command here. To rerun the command, we must select this command. If we don't select it, the command will not be executed. So select the command, click on Run here. Again, what will happen here is that the syntax editor and the code or the command in it will generate a variables called syntax added here, and it will add all the variable together in one variable using this command. So if I click on OK, click on the arrow here, green arrow, a syntax is added here, and the value for each student's score, correct score, is calculated. Again, the benefit of using syntax editor is that you can save it and then retrieve that and use it to rerun analysis or rerun a new set of data or a new set of template. What I can do here is use this as a template, and then delete this data here and import a new data. And instead of going back again through the transform command and entering each through the command and entering each one by one, I just only use the syntax command here to execute and rerun the data. So what is also another benefit, if you notice here, if I'm going to change, let's say, one of the data here, let's cancel this, and then let's say if I change this into 1, because we have no, the score is 61. If I change this to 1, 0 to 1, and this 0 to 1, so it is now, instead of being 62, should be 64, 65. So using again the same command here, highlight it, click on it. As you can see, the new changes has been executed, and the combined or added variable, the 76 variables, changed from 62 to 65. So this is one of the advantages of using the syntax editor and command or code, in addition to using the plus sign. So here I had shown you how to add multiple variables into one single variable, multiple variables here into single variable using the plus sign. And I have two ways to enter this, either enter one by one or type them into Word document and save them, and then just copy them and paste them here. And then you either run the OK or run the paste. The paste gives you an option, is that it allows you to rerun the analysis multiple times and to modify the data if you want to add a new record or remove record from it or adjust a record from it, and it will rerun the analysis, giving you, instead of entering it following these steps, one addition of the values using the plus sign is just execute the command.